Welcome, Home Improvement and Home Podcast fans. Today, as always, I'm joined by my loyal co-host, Adam. How are we doing, Adam?
Hey, Jordan. Good, great.
Grand, wonderful. No yelling on the bus. We're here today to talk about the evolution of the Home Improvement theme song. You might not think that's quite of an evolution, but there's 5 different iterations, and we're going to talk about all of them. We'll talk about music, we'll talk about graphics, and everything. So get ready for that. Before we do, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel for all of the home improvement fun. And with that, we're going to get into this episode. Adam?
Sounds good.
Let's talk the first iteration.
Yeah. I'll
you want to open this?
I'll defer to you.
Oh, you want me to do it? Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
You want me to set the tone here. All right. So season 1, some of these iterations, they span multiple seasons, but season 1 has an intro of its own. I first want to comment about the music, and after every time we talk about this, we're going to actually play the theme so that you guys can get an idea of what we're talking about. But the first season has some pretty chill rock. There's not like a lot going on, honestly. It's just like guitar. But it's amazing how much grunting is there, and that's not going to change. But some things that I thought about that stuck out to me. They don't really do a lot with Tim and Jill, but the boys, they all have something special going on. So here's the special moments for the boys. Mark is making a mess full of caulk. Randy is swinging around on a rope.
Yeah.
Super exciting. And Brad, he gets maybe the worst of the 3 things. He just turns on the TV, and his dad's on TV.
Well, that's the most true to life because we do see him do that a lot throughout the course of the show. We never see Randy hanging from a rope. So
that's true.
For what it's worth.
Yeah, as much as we see him in the rope, and I think multiple iterations of the theme. But the other things that I have, when we get towards the end, I think we always comment on this because you mentioned like the bemusement of the boys' faces.
Oh, I love it.
You see like the logo floating up into the sky, and the boys look up just stunned at what's happening. And frankly, if I saw that too, I might be stunned.
Randy's face is kind of like get a load of this,
And then there's a point where the boys kind of morph into each other. Like, I don't know if you caught this. They run in circles. Like it starts with Mark, and then goes to Randy and then Brad. But they're all running in a circle, and it morphs from Mark to Randy to Brad. And Brad does this sweet jump and pose like the champ is here or something. I'm not sure what he's thinking, but it's pretty impressive.
Cool. All right. Well, let me dive in here. A couple things I want to say off the bat. Theme song has a name. We learned that. It's Iron John's Rock.
Correct.
And it's composed, I guess. This is kind of music composed, I guess all music is, by Dan Foleyart. So getting into season 1, slower. Definitely slower. It starts off with like Tim kind of shaking his head like he's like vibrating kind of. I always get a kick out of that. Definitely the slower guitar riffs. Something I took note of throughout the evolution of the opening credits is the order in which the children were shown.
That is interesting. So here in the beginning, we're going to notice it's changed. Yeah. I'm glad
we have Taryn, Noah Smith, JTT, and ZTB. So we're going in order from youngest to oldest. And one thing I always really liked about this first, the early credit, was like the mowing of the grass into the Home Improvement logo.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right, season 2 and season 3, let's get into it. My notes are sparse. I didn't know every change, but we definitely see Jill's new haircut, her season 2 haircut, which was something we talked about a little bit when we were covering it on the podcast, but very much of the era, kind of a short haircut. You get Karn Man added to the opening credits,
finally.
So sort of showing the evolution of that character. Maybe in the beginning they didn't think it was going to be as big, and then he proved to be more popular. And then I also noted that you do get a Tool Time reference in the opening credits here for season 2, and you don't have that in season 1.
Yeah. So. That is interesting. They also include Wilson, which they didn't include for the first time as well. Right. Yeah, Tim, it's funny. Tim is like pretty much the same exact thing, and then Jill gets a hair update, and they don't do much beyond that, whereas later they will. So we got to talk mostly about the boys again. They still got the same gimmicks, but they're a little bit older. Brad and Randy particularly, they're just, growing up so fast. They swap out that circle morph thing that I talked about into kind of a 3-card Monte of sorts, where like the boys are going in and out. Still the same fascination with the logo flying away, rightfully so. But Brad's face has changed. Instead of being more like awe, it's kind of a deep concern, which I think is kind of interesting.
That's fair.
And then we talked about this when we were recording the podcast. At the end of the intro, there's kind of this line that's just very low. You can't really hear it, that Jill kind of says, and we debated over what she's actually saying. And I think someone in our audience really kind of corrected us on this, but they're moving the boys around, and it's almost like they're doing a portrait, and she says, what do you think? Should we put the kids in the middle? So that's interesting.
It's weird, because that
and if you listen
necessary.
To it backward, it says something very different.
Oh, yeah, it says Paul is dead, right? I forgot about that. Yeah. It's a weird inclusion. Kind of feel like they could have just cut that out, because you really have to listen to it closely to get that. But, it was a good catch by a listener of ours.
All right, so we are on the third iteration now. This is seasons 4 through 6, so making up quite a bit of time here. I think it's the same music. The music hasn't really changed from the last iteration, which we didn't talk about, but it changes more from like that classic rock to electric guitar a little bit more.
I think they speed it up a little bit.
Sped up a little bit?
Faster riffs.
All right, well, this is... When I think of the Home Improvement theme, this is kind of the iconic one I usually think of. More animated. You've got Tim scaling the logo and falling, so he's doing something a little bit different for once. Jill throwing in the laundry, and then catching Tim as he falls from the logo. So
that's marriage.
Yeah, she's cleaning up after the kids. She's cleaning up after Tim. What else is new? The boys are in a video game, and this is probably the most memorable part. I think we talked about when we first covered it in the podcast, but. They're kind of just hopping over different appliances. We get Tim and Al together again in the View-O-Matic TV. Is there significance to the View-O-Matic TV? I'm not aware of that as a thing, but I see it on this all the time. So
I'm not sure. Yeah, I can't say for sure on that.
Somebody let us know in the comment section. This time the logo doesn't just float away; it kind of attacks them and runs into the screen. Dangerous logo.
Yeah, so another thing I was talking about earlier is the order in which the boys appear. So in this credit sequence, it starts with JTT, assuming because of JTT Fever, he's the most popular. Then we get ZTB, Brad, and then we get Taryn Noah Smith. So there's really no logic to that order other than the fact that they're going with who is the most popular. And then I also I mentioned earlier that I liked the mowing of the lawn into the logo. This we get I don't know how else to describe it other than something breaks and they use the pieces of wood to reconstruct the Home Improvement logo. And I kind of like that at the end as well. So other than that, not a ton for me.
Nothing can break the Taylor family. Is that what we're thinking?
Could be.
All right. We're on to the fourth iteration. We're on season 7 now. So we're getting towards the end here. A little bit softer rock now. A little bit more chill, but more surrealism, I guess I would say, and for the video, because Tim gets boxed up, sent into the sky, comes back down as like a plant.
Is it a marble?
Well, I thought it was a marble, but then Jill waters him and he blooms into like a Tim sunflower.
This is not my favorite of what they've done in the opening credits. It's pretty stupid. It's a shame that they had to get to this at the end, but yeah.
It's pretty wild. Wilson hides behind several things, not just the fence anymore. He hides behind a fish. Sure. I don't know. Al comes next, so he's kind of moved up in the billing is kind of where he's at. And he's doing his signature move, which is the salute. Salutes all around. And we get the first appearance of Debbie Dunning as Heidi. So they waited till season 7 to pull that one off. The boys are just smiling, looking very teenage. Behind them are shots from like the previous intros, so we get to see how they're getting older. And they've switched orders again. You talked about how it was Randy, Brad, then Mark. Now it's Brad, Mark, then Randy.
Yeah.
Figure that one out. They get the family together and they show the growth from the first season to the kind of a in-between age, and now the kids are taller than their parents. So it's a lot of using the leverage of a long-running show and all the stuff they have about the kids growing up there.
Yeah, I don't really have much to add. Yeah, you mentioned the order, the change in graphics, and yeah, it's a weird opening. Like Tim is in a box, they shoot the box to space, it comes down, he's a flower. It kind of seemed like, I don't know, just very, very abstract stuff for the Home Improvement audience of the era. I'm not sure they would have appealed to them much, but
no. But I will say in season 7 he does try to go to space, so there's that.
That's true, yeah. I'm sure that's what they're referencing, totally. I think you're onto something.
Of course. All right, final iteration, Season 8. Same music, not too much going on here. Yeah. Mostly the same. Boy order is different because we've got Mark, then Brad, then no Randy. So
yeah, which is this is different because we just watched a Season 8 episode, and he is in the opening credits, so it must be later on in the season they just completely cut him out, which I guess is a sign of maybe some bad blood. I don't know. Yeah.
I think Tim pulled that one off.
He could have. He was executive producer. But yeah, other than that, I don't have any real changes.
Yeah, I mean, Al comes last in the order of stuff.
Okay, yeah.
Same ending, not too much different there. But that's Season 8. All right, so there it is. The definitive guide to the Home Improvement intro. What's your favorite iteration? What's the one that comes to mind when you think of the Home Improvement intro? We'd love to hear it. And don't forget to like our video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.